Hi, Alex. Welcome to Ovis. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So today we're speaking with Alex Fine, the CEO of Dame Products. So could you tell me a little bit how you got started with Dame?
Yeah, sure. So I have a lifelong passion for passion.
Mm,
Um, and so I've always been really interested in what makes us feel erotic and what erotic connection is, and kind of like a lot of the things that would circle around that topic.
yeah.
Um, and I think I also had a real desire to start my own business. So I got my master's in clinical psychology, thinking I wanted to be a therapist, felt like, very impatient on that journey and wanted to get out there and do something. Worked in consumer goods for a little bit, selling shampoo. And while I was there, I was like, oh, this is cool, but like, what do I want to sell,
Okay.
And for me, there was just such a clear need when it came to sexual wellness, to creating tools and bringing value to the world in a way that can help us harness our sexual power for like good.
Yeah.
And that is kind of how. So I got. That was kind of like what where I was when I got started.
Yeah.
Um, and then I like had some wild vibrator ideas. One which was Eva.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I really got started by taking a $50 coin, wrapping it in some cellophane, and putting it in between my labia or labium, and it stayed in place. And I was like, oh, like we can use the folds of a vulva to hold something there. So
Oh,
I
interesting.
yeah, that was kind of like the first step. And then I bought vibrators, and I took those vibrators apart, and I got some moldable plastic and reshaped an external casing around a vibrating motor. I had some friends come over and take off their pants and try out my crazy looking vibrator. And really, the goal here was to create a product that stayed on top of the clitoris,
Yeah.
that didn't block the vaginal opening, allowing for P and the V intercourse or any type of vaginal penetrative intercourse,
Yeah.
um, while providing, while creating a tool that has clitoral stimulation.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was really lucky to meet Janet Lieberman, who went to MIT for mechanical engineering and took like the crazy shit I was making and turned it into a manufacturable product. We launched on Indiegogo, which was a crowdfunding platform, and we did pretty good on Indiegogo.
That's pretty badass. I mean, how was your experience, I guess, crafting the campaign on Indiegogo and like crowdfunding as your first step to create a product?
It was I mean, it was a roller coaster. It was amazing. I think, before we did that, I had some experience with authorities, if you will, and trying to like bring my business venture to them and getting some type of feedback. And mostly what I was feeling was like literally somebody wrote an application. I wrote like, is this a joke? Like, for real, like that. I mean, I also had lawyers who were women and thought it was a dope idea and like did my legal work for free. So there was definitely some people who were lifting me up, but there were people that were definitely shutting it down. And I think as a 26-year-old at the time with a wacky vibrator idea who's never had a business before, it can be really challenging to get that off the ground. And I'm so grateful and feel so blessed to be able to invent something during a time of the internet and bring that concept straight to the people
Right.
and get the people to show up, and they're like, yeah, I would pay for that. Like, I'm willing to pay right now for this product that you haven't fully
Yeah.
created. Like, that's an amazing. And to have 6,000 people do that,
It's got to be
that
validating.
it was so validating. And a part of me thought it, of course, I thought it was I thought it was a great idea. That's why I was like not getting a job and working on this product.
Yeah.
I definitely thought it was $1 million idea or whatever, but to really get that validation, to get that validation pretty much right out of the gate so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I cried a few times.
Shit, I would too.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
I mean, so you fundraise this money, and now you guys are, how many products do you have now?
We have about 12 products, but really 6 vibrators.
Okay. So I mean, you've obviously come a long way from a $half in your vulva. Can you tell me about some of the challenges you face along this journey?
Mm. I think that there are challenges that I face that everybody faces. There's challenges that I face that are really unique to being in this category, as I'm sure you know.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah, I think, the challenges that, I'll start with what's unique to the category. It really is just like the taboo. And of course, there's like this intersectionality of the two. Like, I think it's hard to be a woman to raise money. I think that was definitely just challenging. It's hard to be in this category and raise money because there's so many advertising restrictions. There's so many things that prevent the growth of your business. So it's hard for investors to want to give you money when they can give another company money that can go easily spend that money on Facebook ads. So yeah, I can't run Facebook ads. Just like had a hard time getting a lease. I've had hard times getting a loan, all because of the nature of the business in the category. And then I think when you bring those two things together, it becomes even harder. It's even harder to be a woman raising money, talking to a bunch of men about a problem some of them don't believe exists. And
that's a whole different conversation, I feel.
Yeah. And then, having to pitch them and, be in that kind of power play and talk about sex all at the same time, is challenging. And then I think there's just other challenges with running a business. Like, I think it's hard to run a business. I think some of the hardest things are the things that I'm still super drawn to in life, which come down to like human to human interactions, really understanding what motivates the people around you, understanding like, how do we all understand where we're going and then row this boat in the same direction? It's hard.
It's really tough. Really tough.
I think, I don't know if this is like a good quality or a bad quality, but like, I think you can't help but also continuously ask yourself when you're the quote unquote leader, like, is so-and-so not performing their best because of them? Or is it like, what am I doing? Am I not giving them the right, like, am I not giving them the right information? Am I not giving? So I think, I think somebody else said this to me once, I don't know, but I think entrepreneurship is like an accelerated path to enlightenment, because if you're doing it right, you're going to constantly learn about yourself, and it's so much easier to blame external sources for your failures when you're not the boss, I think.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, that's actually a good segue into my last question is, there are lots of entrepreneurs trying to, build something new, or people who are thinking about entering the space, who don't really know what they're getting into. And I guess my question for you would be, what advice would you give a young entrepreneur looking to enter the sex wellness space?
Yeah. It's funny because I was just saying, like, I don't think that the accelerated path is the best path, first of all.
That's so real.
Right? Like, there's so many ways to live a fulfilling life. And I don't think entrepreneurialism is always the right or best path for everybody. I think that the most important thing, and like I struggle to do this, and I think I should do it probably every quarter, is redo vision work What
Mm,
is it that I really want out of life? You know, like what is that? What do I want my life to look like in 3 years, in 5 years? How much money do I want to be making? How 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 many units do I want to be selling? Or what's the impact that I want to be having in the world? What's going to make me feel good? Because I think when you really understand your desire, I feel like I feel like Octavia Butler has some like dope desire quote. Like I think like desire is about like knowing your star. You can have such strong, beautiful desire when you really know what it is that you want. And I think that to me, I still struggle with that. It's like, wait, what? Sometimes I just realize like I'm like running around in a circle and you need to stop and be like, where am I going? How am I really trying to impact the world? What's super important to me? Um, and the clearer picture you have, the clearer it will be for you to figure out how. I mean, I think this is good advice out. I think it's good advice outside of the sexuality industry, but I think also really very much so within it. There's so many ways to help people get better, get more in touch with their sexuality, and to have a more fulfilling sexual life. Like Lex, I think you're doing it right, and we're all, we're both doing it. And I wanted to be a sex therapist at first, and I think that feels like the only path sometimes. And there's so many other paths
yep.
um, besides just education and therapy. And so just sitting down and being real, like, how do you want to do this, and what do you want out of it too? Um, I would suggest people start there,
That's
and then call
wonderful.
me once you know. Because then I can give
Exactly.
you better advice. Like if you want to get ASEX training, if you want to, you know, what do you want to do?
Exactly. Give you more specifics once you know where the hell you're going. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I I also don't know about you. I also feel like there's nothing more important than the people you work with. You could be doing something you love, but if you're just surrounded by people
Oh,
you don't
funky
love,
people, it's not gonna work out. Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
and
it's painful.
it's painful. So figuring out just, being in a great environment and being able to help cultivate a great environment, which I'm not saying I've done perfectly the whole time. I know I have failed at that. Um, I think that's key.
Yeah.
All right. How'd I do?
I know that's perfect. So if people want to find out more about you and about Dame products, where can they find you online?
Yeah, so you can find out more about Dame Products at dameproducts.com. All of our social media handle is Dame Products. You can find me. I am a fine human on the internet,
Ha ha
generally
ha.
speaking.
Clever.
Thank you. But I'm also like not that much on the internet. But you can find me on LinkedIn or Instagram and DM me there. I'm around.
Perfect. I'll put the link to Dame products on under the show notes.
Great. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lex.